It's called lawfare. It's called weaponization of justice, and it's happened at a level nobody's ever seen before. I defeated deranged Jack Smith. He's a deranged individual. I guess he's on his way back to The Hague. The judge just blocked the... So Cannon was thrown off the case. They dropped their appeal because he had no case. They dropped all of that, the lawsuits against us. They lost the lawsuit. I think it's illegal what they do. Judge Cannon was brilliant and tough, and she didn't stand for it. And I don't know her. And never met her until the case, and I don't believe I said even one word to her. But she was very, very strong and very, very brilliant. And her opinion was so brilliant that they dropped their appeal. They couldn't beat the appeal.
Okay, that was President Trump hammering Jack Smith and Democrat lawfare, saying Democrats tried to turn America into a banana republic. Joining us now, Fox News legal analyst Gregg Jarrett. Gregg, it's great to have you on again. Terrific writer and author. Yeah. So President Trump is applauding federal judge Aileen Cannon blocking the release of Jack Smith's report on the Trump classified documents case. Was Jack Smith trying to damage President Trump and act like judge and juror in a case the judge already tossed out?
Oh, he totally was. That's a great way of putting it, Liz. This was a correct ruling by Judge Cannon, who dismissed the case against Trump months ago because Jack Smith was unlawfully appointed as special counsel. That means everything Smith did is null and void. Why, therefore, should an unauthorized counsel release an unauthorized report? He shouldn't. In the meantime, you know, it's totally unfair to Donald Trump to release it, a one-sided report filled with unproven accusations that only has, as you point out, one objective: to sully the incoming president. Now, having said that, it doesn't really matter, because Smith already leaked the very same material to the public in court papers gratuitously right before the election. He was trying to unduly influence the election against Trump. It was a clear violation of DOJ rules. Merrick Garland didn't care. He was all on board. Voters in the end didn't care, but it does underscore just how conniving and malevolent Garland and Smith are. They were key players in the crooked lawfare campaign that backfired against them.
I mean, the Senate never confirmed Jack Smith. He was not a DOJ U.S. prosecutor. The Trump team also slammed Jack Smith, saying he's trying to interfere with the confirmation hearings for some of Trump's nominees. They're trying to dig to the bottom of that. But the media seems to be all over the map on this. Can you help us figure out why an MSNBC panel today criticizes Judge Cannon, saying, yes, she's got, she has constitutional authority to say Jack Smith's position was not constitutional, but then said, well, what was the controversy, though? The MSNBC legal analysis seems to be all over the map here.
Well, it doesn't make sense because, they're so biased. They're inveterate Trump haters, and I don't think a lot of them really understand the law. The appellate case, part of it is still in the upper court. They could remand it back to the trial court judge, so she does, to some extent, maintain jurisdiction, but this was actually an independent petition to the court, and so she does have jurisdiction over that. So their arguments against Cannon and against Trump really don't make a lot of legal sense.
Final word on the fight between Trump and Judge Juan Merchan?
Not surprising today that the appellate judge in New York denied a stay of Trump's sentencing. The system in New York is so stacked with liberal judges, just as biased as Merchan. And the ruling, I think, is wrong. The Constitution and the Presidential Transition Act prohibit a state or local official like Bragg or Merchan from interfering with or disrupting the transfer of power before inauguration. A president-elect, I think, is immune from any criminal process, just as serving presidents are. But Merchan, deliberately waited to the 11th hour to prevent Trump from really exercising an appeal. He gave him 5 working days. So sentencing may well happen on Friday. We'll wait and see.
Gregg Jarrett, thank you so much for spending time with us tonight. It's good to see you again.